Good evening, everyone. I am Mayor Shelley Carlson. Tonight is June 9th, 2025, and it is 5:30 p.m. The Moorhead City Council welcomes public input on issues listed on the agenda of general community interest, time, and council permitting. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. If you would like to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a form provided by the city clerk, and we will call you up during the citizens addressing the council item on the agenda. You'll need to state your name and if you are a Moorhead resident. If comments were submitted to the clerk prior to the meeting via email or phone, those comments will be entered into record. For more information on participation, please visit the council meetings page on the City of Moorhead website at moorheadmn.gov. We, the Moorhead City Council, collectively and with gratitude, acknowledge the sacred land the City of Moorhead is built upon. We acknowledge the people who've resided here for generations and recognize that the spirit of the Dakota, Ojibwe, Métis, and all Indigenous communities permeate this land. And with that, could I get a roll call, please?
Ryan Nelson.
Present.
Nicole Matson.
Here.
Heather Niesmeyer.
Here.
Emily Moore.
Here.
Deb White.
Here.
Lisa Borgen. Here. Sebastian McDougall.
Here.
Chuck Hendrickson.
Here.
Mayor Shelley Carlson.
Here, and for those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, and Councilmember Molly, do we have any agenda amendments? Or City Manager?
Understood. There are no amendments to the agenda tonight, Mayor.
And next is a consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Niesmeyer.
Second, McDougall.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is recognitions and presentations on the agenda, and tonight we have a presentation, and I will turn it over to City Manager Molly to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The Heartland Trail study began in 2024 with Dan Farnsworth from the Metropolitan Council of Governments leading the study along with Stuart Crosby from SRF Consulting. Both are here tonight. Appreciate your work that's gone into this and for being here. Just as background, Moorhead along with partner jurisdictions in Dilworth, Glendon, Hawley, Clay County have been actively involved in these study efforts. The presentation tonight is to provide an overview, the history and context on the Heartland Trail's findings and next steps. So I'll turn it on over. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'll go ahead and I think Stuart Crosby has been introduced, but he is the with SRF Consulting, who we've been working with for the study. And I'll just have him get going, and then we'll talk about the study as we get going. So it'll be about a 10-minute presentation or so with some Q&A at the end.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Mayor, council members, my name is Stuart Crosby, a landscape architect with SRF Consulting Group. We've been working with MetroCog over the past year now or so on the plan, and we have a few slides here. I'm not sure how to get. Oh, there we are, right there. So the Heartland Trail, as you're well aware, is a state trail. It's currently almost 50 miles long. It's a shared youth paved path that goes across the state, essentially east-west from Park Rapids to Cass Lake. It's one of the first trails in the country that was rails to trails. Started in 1976. The goal of this trail really is to get it extended all the way over to Fargo-Moorhead. And in 2006, the state of Minnesota authorized the extension of the Heartland Trail from Park Rapids to Moorhead. And in 2014, MetroCog created the Clay County Heartland Trail Task Force. What we've been doing in the past year is really picking up where that task force left off and getting into some more detailed analysis of the study across Clay County. In recent years in this region, there have been a couple of segments that have been constructed. In Becker County, there was a 5-mile segment between Detroit Lakes and Frazee that was constructed, and that was part of the state trail. We've been pretty engaged in the Clay County segment, and we're going to get into a little bit more detail of our process, our public engagement, and then we'll show you some of the routing recommendations that came out of that study. So I'm now handing it over to Dan.
Thank you. As you can see on the slide, there were several local partners who partnered with us in this study. So you can see Moorhead, MetroCog, City of Dilworth, Partnership for Health, Clay County, and the City of Glendon. So we appreciate the funding that those jurisdictions have put toward this study. So thanks again for that. As far as the process of the study kicked off in January of last year, 2024. And there was a few steps to that study. First, we gathered what's out there today and what the planned conditions might be, and then looking at different alignment analysis. So we went through a pretty good vetting process, both with the public and with our study review committee on what that best alignment would be. Also looked at cost estimates, an implementation plan, and now we're at the draft study document right now. So we're bringing this presentation and the document to all the jurisdictions along this corridor, including you. We were at the Moorhead Park District not too long ago, and tomorrow morning we'll be with Clay County. So once we get these presentations and questions answered, we'll go ahead and finalize that document and bring it to our policy board for approval. And so we're thinking that'll be in August of this year when we approve that. And I'll also mention there's a lot of extensive public engagement as part of this process. So as you can see on the slide, we had 2 public open houses, one toward the beginning of when we had some alternative alignments out there, just broad alternatives, and then after when we refined those alternatives to get the public's feedback. We also had a specific landowner meeting in October of last year, specific to the landowners along the corridor because a lot of it's rural. And then we also had 2 different stakeholder meeting opportunities, and those would be townships, those would be the park districts, those would be the state park, snowmobile clubs, groups like that. And then we had some pop-up events as well. You can see 4 of them listed there throughout 2024. And there's online engagement as well. We're really happy to see the amount of turnout on the online engagement. You can see there at the bottom right, we had 2,235 total visitors to the website, and 354 provided contributions to the website. You can see that interactive map there. That's where a lot of the contributions were toward. And then we had a survey online at 2 different times throughout the study process as well, 2 different surveys. And so then as far as some of the feedback, there's a lot of feedback, but we won't bring that all here this evening. But you can see on that interactive map where people provided comments. They had different pins they could drop. The red ones were saying, I have a concern here, because those were some of the trail alignments initially. One trend you'll see there is on Highway 10. That was one of the alignment options, but the public is not a big fan of that, with it being a busy roadway and it just not giving it outdoors, relaxing nature type of a feel that they were looking for. Now, the Highway 10 alternative would be the easiest to construct because there's lots of right-of-way, but it's pretty clear the public's not interested in that. So Stuart will talk more about the alternatives that were discussed and that the public favored. You can see in that green one there, which we called Rivers and Forests, would go mostly along the 12th Avenue corridor. And then there was 2 others in there too. So that covers the public engagement, I believe, and I'll turn it back to Stuart.
Thanks, Dan. So as we look at this corridor, we divided the corridor into 4 different segments. And segment 1, which you see right here, is the western segment that essentially goes from Moorhead over to through Dilworth and makes its way over toward Buffalo River State Park. One thing I want to point out about this map is that you'll see part of it in the lower portion is shaded out in white, and then you have kind of a highlighted, bolded area. That highlighted area represents what is in the DNR's master plan. And that's important because we really have to stay within that DNR master plan area, because if we get out of that and the corridor or the recommended alignment is outside of that, if the trail is going to be a state trail, then the DNR has to go back and amend their master plan process, which takes a long time. That's a process that we're trying to avoid. And there are a lot of opportunities within this. It's roughly about a 4 or 5 mile wide corridor so we really focused on staying within that. What you see here, the blue line is our recommended alternative. And it starts in Centennial Park on 15th Avenue in Moorhead. We felt that was a great location to connect to the Moorhead trail system and ample parking. It would be a great location for a trailhead, which we have an example of right here. That trailhead would have amenities including kiosk for mapping, potentially restrooms, a plaza with seating and bike racks, and a great location for people to park their car and start their ride east toward Becker County, Buffalo River State Park, or any other destination. As you'll see here, oops, sorry, I'm going the wrong. I guess it only goes one way. See if I can get to the, back to where I was here. There, as you'll see, our recommended alignment, as I mentioned, starts in Centennial Park and heads east on 15th Avenue, and then south through the east side of Dilworth, crossing over Highway 10 as well as the railroad on 14th Avenue. 14th Avenue right now doesn't have any crossing over the railroad. We've been working with the City of Dilworth and with BNSF about future crossings, and that is one of those locations where there is potentially going to be a grade separated, a bridge crossing over the railroad. That may take several years, and in the interim, we have a green dash line that comes down 34th Avenue to 12th, and that we see as an interim alignment that would allow trail users to get where they want to go from Centennial Park down to the 12th Avenue corridor and head east. 12th Avenue is the preferred route really from Dilworth east toward Buffalo River State Park, primarily because through all of the engagement, what we heard was people want to get to Buffalo River State Park. I'd say Moorhead to Buffalo River State Park is probably what people's biggest interests are in this entire corridor across Clay County. And so time and time again, we were hearing that that was the corridor that they were interested in, and that's one of the primary reasons that you see that blue line right there. We do have direct connections into Dilworth, and Glendon has a local trail connection that's in green. It goes north-south, so that gets right into town. So there's a lot of great opportunity for local trail connections throughout. One of the things that came up many times is connections to the Moorhead trail system. Starting at Centennial Park, gets great connections to the Moorhead system in the north, and then the temporary trail down 34th and then east on 12th Avenue. Once the full trail build-out is complete, we will have great opportunities to connect in a segment along 12th Avenue into the Moorhead Park and trail system as well. So really, Moorhead benefits from two different connections to their trail system, one in the north and one in the south. As part of our process, we looked closely at all the major roadways, major crossings, river crossings, highway crossings, and we created cross sections so that we could have a better understanding of what it would look like to put a trail either next to a road or across some of these larger constraining areas. So what you see right here is a cross section that shows the trail on the south side of 15th Avenue. There's a drainage ditch right there, and we're looking at putting the trail on the road side of that ditch for portions of it, and on the southern side of it for portions of it as well. 12th Avenue is in a very flat area, and one of the things that we were concerned about is to make sure that we were able to get drainage and enough separation between the roadway and the trail without impacting adjacent land use. And so what you see here is a cross-section that shows a buffer there between the future roadway and the trail itself. Taking into consideration things like predominant wind and dust, et cetera. So that trail is going to be in an area that I think will get heavy use, but also have a lot of impact from the predominant winds. On the next slide here, we talked about this is the detail of Centennial Park Trailhead, and this is, I think, a good overall image right here that shows you the entire corridor as it crosses Clay County. We put together a phasing plan because a corridor that's over 20 miles long is not going to be able to be constructed or even really developed all in one shot. It's going to take multiple different segments. What we anticipate is that this trail will probably be started on the west side at Moorhead and work its way to the east. Likely, and you can see here the far right side, phase 6, from Holly to the Becker County line is probably one that will have to be done in coordination with Becker County as they develop their trail system. Buffalo River State Park is one of the primary destinations, so we see that as an area where we'll try to build the trail connection to that, but most likely it will be in coordination with cities like Dilworth and Holly and Moorhead as road work is going on or as trail funds become available, building the trails out from those communities and eventually get that trail network that will go probably from Moorhead to Buffalo River State Park and then east toward Holly. So what are next steps for this study? We've put together recommendations, we've put together cost estimates, we have a phasing plan, we've broken down the phasing plan, putting cost to each of those. There are a few things that we recommend for next steps. One is to set up a task force and figure out who the lead entities are going to be to move this forward. Will it be MetroCog? Will it be Clay County? Will it be a consortium of the communities, including Moorhead, along the corridor? One of the determining factors that needs to be figured out right away is whether or not this is going to be a state trail or if it's going to be a regional trail or a combination of local and regional trails. And it could even be a combination of local, regional trail, and state trail. There are some important distinctions between a state trail and a regional trail, and a lot of it comes down to funding and constructability and timeframes for that, which we can get into later if need be. After it's really determined if it'll be state or regional, then it's pursuing funding sources is one of the next key steps. And then environmental review, right-of-way review and acquisition, trail design, and landowner discussions. And then obviously obtaining funding for construction before actual construction can begin. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not something that happens all at once. Trails cost anywhere between $750,000 to over $1 million a mile to construct. And so when you're looking at a corridor like this, it's multiple millions of dollars and will have to be broken likely into phases over a period of time. So I think with that, we'll pause here for questions if there are any.
All right, thank you so much, Dan and Stuart. This is really exciting. I know it's been something that keep hearing it being talked about and talked about and talked about, but getting closer and closer to actually starting it is really exciting. So with that, I believe we do have one comment for sure from Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I just want to say I'm happy to see the report, and it's been a pleasure working on the group as the study was being conducted, and I'm looking forward to seeing it go forward. I did want to say I'm disappointed that there wasn't any mention of the idea of having the trailhead in downtown Moorhead. It seems like a real missed opportunity, and I know that, you know, when we're looking at Centennial Park, as you mentioned, you're very close to some really nice city trails. In fact, you're about 3 blocks away. And so it seems like it makes the most sense to connect that. And I know that there's been those discussions of having that connect and having the beginning of the trail be in downtown Moorhead. And of course, it would obviously generate more interest for, you know, folks that wanted to come on the trail. They would be in an area where they could be right along the river. They could go to restaurants, you know, be in the downtown area. But I think even as we're using this document to get support from stakeholders, the businesses in that area, you know, if we're looking at places that would benefit from it, who might potentially do things like bike rental, it seems to make a lot more sense than investing in a trailhead in a more isolated area that has a lot less interest. And so I'd really like to see something like that added. I'm glad that this is still in a draft stage, because again, I just think that this could be used in a better way to leverage support by including that. The discussions that are happening right now and that have been happening about having that trailhead in downtown Moorhead rather than at Centennial.
Great. Dan, you want to?
Yeah, I can start with that. We did hear that request too. Unfortunately, when that request came in was after the it had been vetted through the public, and so if that request had come in toward the earlier stage of the study, when those requests were, that would make it a lot easier, because we were hoping to, that's a great idea, like you were saying, Councilmember White, to have the trailhead in downtown Moorhead, but we wouldn't feel right about just putting that in the plan without the public going through their process of it. as with all the other alternatives. So, and now I'm not, that would definitely be on the table still. I think we just have to be strategic about, it wouldn't, if it were to be on the state trail system, the DNR plan would have to be amended since it's out of the buffer zone. So, but I think that's something that we can definitely work with as we go forward in our planning, is to have, whether it be maybe not the state trailhead being in downtown Moorhead, but maybe it could be, depending on whether it's a regional trail, it'd be a lot easier to maybe have that in downtown Moorhead. So I think those are things to think about, and I'll let Stuart chime in too as well. And I think another part is just, if it were to be in downtown Moorhead, would that route want to go on Highway 10, or just how that routing would work? So I'll let Stuart answer anything else.
Sure. Yeah, Councilmember White, thanks for the comment. I think that having a connection to downtown is critically important. If it's the true trailhead or if it is a downtown trailhead, as Dan mentioned, to get the actual trail alignment into downtown would require a DNR master plan update. But I think there are a lot of options for creating a trailhead downtown, and I think that adding something to the plan before it's finalized, and possibly noting, and maybe we work with you on your ideas or thoughts on potential connections would be beneficial, because I think it is important to mention that Moorhead's interested in having that downtown connection. So, yes.
Thank you. Other comments? Councilmember Niesmeyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to chime in and say I think the trailhead, there's a lot of access sort of discussions, knowing that there will be added features like a parking space, and my hope is acknowledgement and awareness of public transportation for those who want to utilize that space. But there has been a lot of energy in making the city of Moorhead more walkable and bikeable, and having that trail continue through and into the city, I think, is something on the minds of many of our residents as well as our regional visitors. And if there's a potential to continue it, to make a note to not have it stop with the finalized plan, but to continue that planning and those connections, as well as exploration of funding. I think we have a lot of development and energy around downtown Moorhead, as well as the businesses and stuff that will be there that could really help support people who are looking to experience a trail and come this far west or this far east, I guess, if you're coming from other states. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I would hate for it to be missed. I really appreciate you including the DNR buffer. I don't know that a lot of folks talk about that when they think about funding and connecting, and so mentioning that tonight is a really great follow-up point for residents who have brought this up, as well as the hope to continue conversations. So thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council members? I don't see any, so thank you so much for coming, and we will stay tuned to find out what, as this plan progresses. And I would concur with the two council members who spoke up that it would be great to have some connection to our downtown, since we were really trying to activate that area of our city. So,
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all for your comments and ideas.
Moving on, do I have a motion to approve the May 27th, 2025 meeting minutes?
So moved, Borgen.
Wait seconds.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And moving on to citizens who wish to address the council. There are two individuals who wish to address the council at this time. I'm just going to call you up in no real order. It's just how they came to me. The first is Miss Terry Thiel, I believe. And yes, if you want to come to the podium. And once you get to the podium, you'll need to state your name if you are a resident of the city of Moorhead. And this very technologically savvy little contraption, it'll be green when your 3 minutes are going. When it turns red, you will need to wrap it up. We give people 3 minutes to present, and just so you are aware, this is your opportunity to give information to the council. It's not an opportunity where we will be doing a Q&A back and forth. If it's something that one of our staff members can meet you out in the lobby area to address your questions, if you have a question tonight, we'll be able to do that. Otherwise, somebody will get back to you later on. So you can go ahead and state your name if you're a resident of Moorhead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Terry Thiel, and I'm a resident of Moorhead, lifelong. Tonight I wanted to ask about if we could get some restrictions on Oakport Street between 28th Avenue North, which is the north end of the sugar beet factory, up to Wall Street. There's a bike trail along there, and it's scary being out there having a semi go by you fully loaded at 55 miles an hour about 8 feet away. And you have one major park out there and another small one. And it's just a safety factor. A lot of people, a lot of pedestrian traffic on there. And the other thing I don't like about trucks going along there is their speed. And the city of Moorhead, that means us, we have to pay for that road to be fixed with all these trucks on there. And they can go 3/10 of a mile further east to Highway 75 and come in that way to the sugar beet factory. And I don't know who pays for the upkeep on Highway 75, but I don't think it's too much of it on us. It's more on the state or federal, I don't know. It's just if you guys could take a look at, go out there some night or some day and just see how many trucks go by there, how many people with kids and dogs and everything are trying to use that bike path to get to Johnson Park. And it's kind of a scary deal. And even if the trucks are gone, I would like to see it reduced to, say, maybe 40 miles an hour through the whole thing through there. There's been new houses built back along there, people moving in, and it just doesn't have to be 55 through there anymore. And I lived up there for the last 25 years, and I just don't see the need for speed through there. And that's pretty much all I have, is if you guys could just take a look at maybe restricting truck traffic on that portion of 11th Street, which is now called Oakport Street. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And we have your contact information here, and somebody will reach out to you.
Thank you.
Yep. The next person is Martha Wheeler. And if you want to come to the podium and state your name if you're a Moorhead resident, and then you have your 3 minutes with our mini stoplight here.
Okay. My name is Martha Wheeler. I have lived in Moorhead for 38 years. I live in Ward 2, and I'm wearing a couple of hats here tonight. One is just the hat of a citizen. I took the Citizens Government Academy a couple of years ago, and it just really made me appreciate the city government that we have, the council as well as the employees. And the other thing that is an invitation, I would like to invite any of you to FM Flutterfest, which is a pollinator celebration, which will be taking place on June 17th from 4 to 8 at Gooseberry Park. And we will be having a very family-friendly event, including planting a pollinator garden, thanks to the partnership of the City of Moorhead, who is allowing us to put in a pollinator garden. We will be having kids plant things to take home, and story times and book giveaways, beautiful books to give to children. There will be some people doing some buckthorn removal, all kinds of wonderful things to support wildlife in our community. And I'm so appreciative that that the City of Moorhead, it does support improving our environment by planting native plants up in M.B. Johnson Park, the food forest, and many other locations in the city. And I just hope that I'm also here as a member of Master Gardeners, and so I hope that we can continue to partner with the City of Moorhead to do more pollinator supporting projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right, and we do not have any other individuals who would like to speak, so we are moving on to public hearings. The first one is a public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant. Could I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So move, Niesemeyer.
Second, Nelson.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries, and the meeting is open, and I will turn this over to Ms. Tanya Kunza.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Carlson. Members of the City Council, this public hearing is related to goals and planning for expenditure of the Federal Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. The City of Moorhead has been awarded $356,693 in CDBG funds for 2025 and has program income from its revolving loan program that can be reinvested in eligible activities. Future funding awards are subject to congressional approval. I will summarize draft priorities and projects for the draft 2025 through 2029 consolidated 5-year plan and a 2025 annual action plan. There's no action required at tonight's meeting. The mayor and council are asked to hear public testimony and may close the hearing tonight. Final consideration and action will be considered at the June 23rd City Council meeting. The draft 2025 through 2029 consolidated plan and 2025 action plan is currently out for a 30-day public comment period, along with a minor amendment and update to the citizen participation plan. The comment period will end June 21st, and no comments have been received thus far. The following is a summary of the draft priority statements for the 2025 5-year consolidated plan. Affordable housing. To rehabilitate or update affordable housing, rental units, and housing in partnership with Moorhead Public Housing Agency, Clay County HRA, and Creative Care for Reaching Independence, CCRI. Rehabilitate up to 35 homes within the city of Moorhead, in which the homeowners meets HUD's qualifications of low to moderate income. The city will partner with Lake Agassiz Habitat for Humanity and Cass Clay Community Land Trust to add up to an additional 5 units for home ownership for low to moderate income families. The city will support local agencies seeking to reduce housing cost burden of low income households through certificate and voucher programs. The second priority is homelessness. To support the continuation and expansion of emergency, transitional, and permanent supportive housing available to homeless persons and those who are at risk of homelessness in our community. Support initiatives, funding applications, data collection efforts, and technical support needs of service providers, expanding homelessness prevention services and coordinated assessments. And I've recently been asked to serve on the advisory board for the Landlord Risk Mitigation Fund and the Cass Clay Interagency Council on Homelessness, which will provide more insights and collaboration on homelessness with the area partners. Special needs populations. To support initiatives of service providers to expand services, outreach, and assessment for special needs populations through technical support, funding application support, and other means. Work with community agencies to support their efforts of making homes accessible, especially for the elderly and or persons with disabilities, through accessibility and safety for snow removal and or modifications for accessibility. And non-housing community development needs. To partner to address the needs of children and youth from low to moderate income households by providing positive recreational job training and development opportunities. Partner to provide transportation to homeless and extremely low-income individuals to access community resources. From those priorities just mentioned, the draft 2025 annual action plan lays out the projects that align with the 5-year priority statements. Comments on the draft 2025 5-year consolidated plan, the 2025 annual action plan, and the citizen participation plan will be accepted through June 21st. Comments can be made over the phone, by email, or by submitting comments through the website. All of this information is available on the website cityofmoorhead.com. Just search for Community Development Block Grant. I'd be happy to answer any questions after members of the public have had an opportunity to comment on the CDBG planning documents.
Thank you. And are there any members of the public who wish to comment at this point in time? Get any members of the public who wish to comment? Seeing none, we close this public hearing? We will close this one. Okay. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Borgin.
Second, Niesemeyer.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We are out of the public hearing. Do any council members have any questions for Ms. Kunza? Oh, Councilmember Niesemeyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know that you have come and visited with us about a number of the programs that are offered, and there have been a lot of use historically on the snow removal assistance program. Can you provide us history on where it started for money and how it has come to propose the $25,000? Just to see the growth and if that continues to be one of the most used. I understand we didn't have a ton of snow this winter, so that might have come into play. But I'm curious, just as an example of some of the programs that are highly used but may not be well known in our community.
Yes, the snow removal program is designed, it's a public service activity, and CDBG funds are used for homeowners in the city of Moorhead that are either elderly and or disabled and are unable to remove the snow independently. So they can apply to the CDBG program, which this had started, the snow removal program started right before I came to the city, so it was in the winter of 2022. And has historically grown from 15 participants, and we're currently sitting at about 28 to 30 from the last snow season. And so it's a very popular and well-used program, which is a need in the community for those that are unable to remove the snow for themselves.
Marvelous, thank you. I know as we look at funds and fund uses, it's really important to know that funds just aren't being allocated and then sitting there unused. And so hearing that that program has continued to grow, not only in users, but in funding capabilities. I think that that's really great. Thank you, Tanya.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions? Or Councilmember Hendrickson?
Thank you, Mayor. With the home rehabilitation loan program, was that totally used last year? And did it go fast? I want to know the timeline. I mean, it says first come, first served. What was the timeline on it for being used?
We usually, in a year, can do up to 6 home rehab loans. And yes, all 6 people on the waiting list were contacted and their rehab projects have started. Yeah, there is a wait list for that program. It's a highly popular program for the purpose of it being where it's up to $25,000, where the homeowner doesn't need to pay any monthly payments, and there's no interest accumulates until they either sell their home or pass away. So yeah, it's a very highly used program that has a wait list probably of about a year to a year and a half.
Oh, okay. That's all I knew. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Doesn't look like we have other comments or questions, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it sounds like you'll be back in about a month.
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Moving on to our second public hearing of the night, do I have a motion to open the public hearing regarding the request of Elmir
Upich.
Upich on behalf of Pit 30 South LLC for property tax exemption.
So moved, Niesemeyer.
Second, Nelson.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? See none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries, and I will turn it over to you, Derek.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. As mentioned here, we are processing what we have as our commercial industrial property tax incentive. Mr. Upich is here for any questions and details that I might miss here as we present. The plan is to construct a speedy oil change facility that would feature automotive oil change and lubrication. This is off of 30th Avenue and 11th Street, so just south of the new Corwin Corwin Subaru campus. Sorry. The plan would be to construct a new building operating quick lube and oil change, focused on fluid changes. The building would be an 86 by 32 foot building with 26 foot high building heights. The plan is to create 6 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job. This existing parcel does have some value of about $134,000. For our program of a commercial industrial property tax exemption, land and any existing value does remain taxable. So we're only looking at new taxable value that's added. After working with our city assessor, we estimated that the new building value for this project would be approximately $550,000. Per our parameters, that qualifies for a 3-year property tax exemption on that new value that's created. If approved here tonight, project would start in June of 25 with the anticipated completion of December 2025. This project is in our MU4 Gateway Mixed Use Zoning District. It does meet all zoning requirements, and they'll continue to work with our planning team and building inspections team to meet all that qualification. But our commercial industrial program is pretty much straightforward. We have our minimum taxable value and job requirements, and this project does meet both of them, and anticipated to see this project start. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and Mr. Yupich is here for any as well.
All right, thank you. And are there any members of the public who wish to speak to this agenda item at this time? Again, any members of the public who wish to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion of this agenda item.
So moved, Niesemeyer.
Second, Mattson.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The public hearing portion of this item is closed. Any questions or comments for Mr. LaPointe or Mr. Yupich? And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve this property tax exemption.
So moved, Deb White.
Second, Niesemeyer.
The motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations. The property tax exemption passed, and thank you for choosing to do business or build your business here in Moorhead. Look forward to seeing it start, I guess, pretty soon. All right. Yep, thank you. All right, moving on the agenda, we are at mayor and council reports. Are any council members who have reports from boards or commissions? Councilmember Niesemeyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was able to attend a number of community events. One was the opener for the Moorhead Farmers Market. I am really appreciative of Moorhead Parks for putting on that weekly event in our community from June through October. If you haven't experienced the farmers market yet, it is 3:30 to 6:30. It incorporates music, local food vendors, a variety of delicious things, as well as fun activities. Not to be shortchanged, the River Arts is also an event. This year, it is Wednesday nights at the same park, Viking Ship Park. And that's 5:30 to 8 p.m. So Tuesday night this week, you could go to the farmers market, and then Wednesday, you could go to River Arts. And so both have beautiful community building opportunities, as well as free fun for the family, as well as a way to support local entrepreneurs. And so I encourage families and neighbors to get out and participate in those events. I was also this last week able to participate along with Councilmember Moore and Mayor Carlson, the community huddle that was hosted by Legal Services of Northwest Minnesota and Inclusive Moorhead in collaboration with MSUM, M-State, local BIPOC-led organizations, service providers, and local leaders. And it was a wonderful opportunity to start some conversations that perhaps have been held in small groups and now had the opportunity to engage across a number of barriers with folks in the room. It was outstanding to see a number of staff from the city of Moorhead there, as well as community residents, engaging with leaders and talking about issues that are important. And so I wanted to appreciate the collaborators of this event and say that I look forward to continuing conversations in the city of Moorhead, as well as future events just like that. There is no better place to call home than the city of Moorhead, in my opinion, and it's events like this that make it great.
Thank you, Councilmember Niesemeyer. Councilmember Hendrickson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended 2 events last week with the Red River Basin Commission. On June 4th, our board took a tour of the watersheds around the southern part of the valley. It was a great opportunity to see ongoing and completed projects firsthand, and connected with many new members, and especially our Canadian counterparts up north, so that was interesting. They're all Winnipeg Jets fans, if you can imagine that. But the tour included stops at Matson Slough, Whiskey Creek, Vance Johnson Field Site, North Ottawa Impoundment, and Redpath Impoundment. And I have the 360 app on my phone, and my son was watching me. He goes, "Where were you at? Were you lost, Dad?" And I said, "No, I was on a bus, so don't worry about it." And then we had our quarterly board meeting at Marriott. So all in all, it was a great 2 days. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember McDougall.
There we go. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to remind everyone that it is June, so Juneteenth, the 4th celebration of it. It will be held on the 19th this month, 3 to 7, and will be at Concordia this year as opposed to Yemcom Center. And then also, the very next day on the 20th is a Scandinavian Festival here at Viking Ship Park, the very next day. So, and that starts at 9:30. Sorry. And that's everything. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Moore.
Sure. I'm going to tack on to the River Arts and just say that post-traumatic function syndrome is going to be there on June 11th. So that should be a great time. And in the park board direction, since my last report, we had a park board meeting and we approved a new fee schedule. I just wanted to comment that we're balancing providing competitive pay and great programs, as well as making sure that these are not cost prohibitive. That's a hard word, cost prohibitive programs for our community. If you are in need of a financial scholarship, those are also available. So shout out to Sean Brandenburg for his fabulous work there, as well as a resident that we had, Nikki, who reached out and kind of complained about a situation she was unhappy with. And we turned it around incredibly quickly and have a new adaptive swing at Knapp Park. So thank you to Sean for that one as well. I also attended the Economic Development Authority orientation, so thank you to Amy Thorpe and Derek LaPointe for putting that together.
Thank you. Other council members with reports from boards or commissions? Anything? Okay. Seeing none. For the mayor reports, in addition to 16 meetings since the last council meeting, a few that I just wanted to highlight. We did have a CGMC Board of Directors meeting. For those who have not yet registered for the summer conference, it's going to be a really great conference in Bemidji, July 23rd through the 25th. I also had the opportunity to meet with Age Friendly Moorhead, which is a very grassroots organization centered around making sure that the city of Moorhead is age friendly for not just younger folks, but for older individuals as well. And then this morning, I administered the oath of office to 3 new Moorhead police officers. So that is all the report that I have. And I'll turn over to you, City Manager Molly.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 quick updates. So neighborhood waiting pools are open. The hours are 1 to 7 p.m. And they're located in Hansman, Northeast, Ridgewood, Riverview, and Village Green Parks. And then also, although city services never cease functioning, city offices are closed Thursday, June 19th for Juneteenth.
All right, thank you. And also congratulations to you on your set of twins graduating from high school this past weekend. I hope you had a lot of great fun family friends time. And just a quick shout out that tomorrow is Councilmember Borgen's birthday, so a happy early birthday to her. We do not have an executive session or new business tonight, so we are adjourned. Good night, Moorhead.